What is the creepiest glitch in the Matrix you've experienced? So, before my husband and I were married, we lived separately. He would come over and spend time, then leave later at night, like 11 or 12. He left one night out my front door, which has 3 locks, a lock on the knob, a deadbolt, and what I call a hotel lock. It's a lock that you flip the long piece over onto a short peg and then the door can only be opened a few inches. Well, he left and used his key to lock the knob and deadbolt. But I thought to myself, I have to go lock the hotel lock. I come down and it's locked already. Absolutely no way he could have locked it from outside. Not long after 9/11, on a Friday, I got up to go to class and had one of those mornings. Broke a glass getting something to drink. Tripped over something going to my car. Was late to class due to a wreck on the way there. Not me, thankfully. While at school we heard about a plane crashing. Something about the wings blowing off. Went to work. Went home. The next morning my roommate wakes me asking if I'm skipping class today. After he convinces me it is still Friday, I get up and go to class. After noticing the glass I broke is not broke. On the way I pass the same wreck in the same spot. All day I wait to hear about the plane, but it never happens. Ends up kinda a normal day. The next day they arrest the shoe bomber, and I have wondered if someone rewound that day to stop him and somehow I didn't reset with it. A few months before my first car accident I dreamed about it happening. Everything from the sounds to the placement and the smell was the same. Thing is, the girl driving tried to get me to find a different ride because she didn't want to do any extra driving that day. And after the crash I told her about my dream and she said she had the same one the night before and that's why she didn't want to drive. In college I delivered pizzas to make money. I had a delivery that should have taken about 20 minutes. When I returned to the store the manager asked me what had taken so long. I asked him what he meant and he pointed to the computer showing I had been gone for an hour and 7 minutes. I don't remember delivering the pizza. Only turning into the store when I was returning. Before anyone suggests aliens. No. My anus was not sore. I also don't drink or use drugs. 20 years later I still have no idea what happened. 10 years old. In grandma's front yard. She keeps her yard immaculate. Award worthy. It's dusk. Family get together. Mum says toss me the car keys, so I do. My throw is short by finger lengths. I assumed they landed in the short grass. But we never found them. That was 30 years ago. The yard has been mowed hundreds of times. The house is still in the family. Still well taken care of. No keys. Not especially creepy. But it did used to unnerve me when I was young. When I was little I used to have a Thomas the Tank Engine book with fold out parts and flaps. There was this one part which was like a shed and you could lift a flap to see inside it. Inside was all the usual gardening shed paraphernalia. But there was also a black cat sat in there. Here's the glitch though, I swear the cat wasn't always there. I used to love that book. But every time I read it I would get to that page and guess whether the cat would be there or not. Not a clue what that was all about really. This is late and pretty stupid. But why not? I was once showering and after about 10 minutes in the shower I hear something ping and hit the floor. I looked down and saw a penny. I was pretty perplexed as you can imagine. But figured whatever, I'll keep it as I imagined it could be good luck. I kept the penny in my wallet for a few years in a zipped side pouch. I never really told anyone because it was kind of pointless to talk a random penny I was superstitious about. So a few years later while at a music festival, a girl in our tent woke up to a penny in her butt crack. We all laughed it off as having a wild night. However, I remembered the penny I had. And when I looked in the zipped pouch I was shocked to find it was gone. I told my friends and they didn't believe me. I think they threw that penny away too. TL. Doctor teleporting as penny. This one is more silly than creepy. But once when I went with my grandmother to her friend's house, I was on the porch by myself with a grandmother's friend's cat. And the cat looked me right in the eyes and said the word meow. It didn't sound like a cat meowing at all. It sounded very convincingly like a human carefully enunciating the word meow. 2 syllables. In their most thoroughly unconvincing cat voice. Like someone intentionally doing a very poor impression of a cat. As a joke. But it was perfectly in time with the movement of the cat's mouth and there was no one else around. So it had to have been the cat saying it. TL. DR. Met a cat that could talk. But the only word it knew was meow. When I was about 15 I was eating some cereal and accidentally dropped my spoon into the kitchen floor. I watched the spoon fall. As it hit the floor, it just vanished into thin air. I was shocked. I thought surely my eyes were playing tricks on me. It must have just bounced away and gone out of sight or something. I spent 30 minutes searching the kitchen for that spoon. I was honestly kind of freaked out. I tried to think of every possible place it could have gone. There weren't many places it could have ended up. I never found it. Edit. Fixed typo. Just today at the mall I saw at least 10 men with the same bleached haircut in the food court. I think the character generator is broken. I was walking my dog. On his leash there is a little plastic attachment that holds his poop bags. I dropped the leash onto the ground. I heard the plastic hit the ground. But it turns out it ended up back in my hand. Imagine dropping something. Hearing and seeing it drop. Then somehow it's in your hand. All under a couple seconds. Check the carbon monoxide detector outside. A few nights back I was wide awake in the guest bed at my place and heard quiet footsteps and then my wife say hey gently at the door. It seemed weird. So I got up to see what she wanted and she was fast asleep in bed. Before you ask. If you had a cold. My daughter and I were on the couch one day when she was younger and we heard the sound of popcorn like from microwave. It wasn't a constant popping but 1 or 2 pops every 10 seconds or so. Then the entire living room filled with the smell of buttered popcorn. No one was making popcorn. The microwave itself did not smell like popcorn and the smell was only in the living room. I went as far to open the heating vents to see if there was a rogue bag of popcorn in there. If it was just the smell and not the sound or vice versa I would easily explain it away. But it was still one of the strangest events. I was sitting on my porch and had my debit card on the table in front of me. I went inside to get something to drink, patio furniture in sight and a 6-foot privacy fence around the yard. I also lived alone. Went back outside and it was just gone. I searched everywhere. Inside and out but couldn't find it. Nothing was withdrawn from my account so 2 days later I cancelled it and requested a new one. 2 weeks later I went out to sit on the porch. I did this every day, and the old card was sitting right there on the table. It just fking appeared. There was nothing else on the table. It just was gone. And then it wasn't. Edit. Got a few replies so let me clarify. I lived alone. The porch was screened. I literally took off all the cushions on the porch. Destroyed my house. The table was your typical glass patio table and I sat out there every freaking day and there wasn't anything on it. Then, 2 weeks later it was just sitting there on the table. Nothing was withdrawn from my account. I genuinely have no explanation. Was going down the stairs and went past my brother who was coming up the stairs. Said hi and he sort of mumbled back. Got downstairs and walked through to the kitchen. Only to find him standing there. WTF. I was getting on an airplane and a ginger yelled out for some dude Sebastian at a different gate. When I landed, a different ginger called out for a different Sebastian. A few days ago my wife and I were settling down to watch a movie in the living room. He switches off the light in the room, there is a light switch right above the sofa, and we start the film. A few minutes into the film we notice the light is on. It was weird because we didn't notice it switch on. Just kinda noticed that it was on but we have no idea how long it was on for. We both clearly remember that the light was switched off. It's part of our movie watching setup. We like the cinema experience. It confused the hell out of us both. I was 11 or 12. Early 70s. Dad came home one Friday and announced we were going to Kings Island. A fairly new amusement park, tomorrow. I begged him to let me invite my friend Chris to come along. He said okay. As long as Chris could pay his own way. Great. Off to the phone I went. Pick it up. No dial tone. Hello? Oh my god. Is that you? Chris? I was just calling you. What's up? I was calling to ask if you'd like to come to Kings Island tomorrow. But you have to pay your own way. No phone ever rang. We both called each other at the same time. To ask the exact same thing. I'm a security guard at a distribution warehouse. Sometimes I have to work graveyard shift. During this time the only people on the premises is me. And a rare truck driver bringing in a late load. Our guard shack is concrete. With sliding glass doors on the sides, no locks, and big windows in front and back. Sometimes when I'm the only person on the premises, I'll see a reflection of someone walking past the shack. Every inch of this shack and the yard is covered by security cameras. No one has shown up on the footage when I see these reflections. Long ago when I was kid, my younger brother and me were driving our bikes on the embankment alongside the river and there was a huge dam thingy on the river. I grew up in this town and I never knew we had a dam. When we got home I told my mother that it was the first time I have seen the dam. And she did not know what I was talking about. Later I returned, there was nothing there. My brother does not remember. But I have seen it as clear as day. I'm sure it was my imagination. But it's strange. I did not dream it. Since my brother remembered that we were there. He just doesn't remember the dam. Had a dream of some kid that I had never seen before dancing at a busy party. He was wearing a blue shirt, black pants, had Bieber hair, and there was a purple strobe light on the wall behind him. Wake up. Think to myself, how? What an odd dream. And carry on with my life. Several years later I was at my cousin's wedding reception. Chillin' and hanging out with a different cousin. Music comes on and we start jumping up and down. And then I realized that I was reliving the dream. Same clothes. Same hair. Same purple lighting in the background. I feel like shitty like this happens to me every so often. Poured a freshly boiled water to a glass. Walked over to check my email on the phone for less than 1 minute. I'm very sure because the same song is still playing. Walked back. The glass of water is room temperature. I might just have had a stroke. Never checked. I have several times had multi-plane deja vu, as I like to call it. Basically, I'd have a deja vu moment about something. Not too odd. But then later I'd have the same exact deja vu moment again. And it's always super specific things. too. I swear to God my mom told me my cousin died from an overdose a year before he actually did. So when she told me and I replied "Sayi. From an overdose. Right? She was shocked that I already knew. I thought she was somehow messing with me until she showed me his death date. I still can't really explain that one. It. A lot of people are mentioning that he could have overdosed before and survived. Making it that I assumed he died the first time. The weird thing is that I barely knew anything about this cousin. My mom's extended side is very big with 22 first cousins, 40 plus second cousins, etc. So there's a lot of cousins I've never met personally, and I specifically only remember being told about his drug addiction in context of it contributing to his death, since my family speculates it was intentional and not accidental. Basically, I never really knew much about him while he was alive. So while it's very plausible I could have heard about him overdosing beforehand, the way I remember it is very different. Memory is a fickle thing though, so who knows. My partner and I have the same vivid memory of something happening that never happened. We are both convinced that our friend was with us at another friend's wedding and he fixed the sound system during the reception. Except the friend we remember fixing the sound system was not at the wedding and does not even know the person who was having the wedding. But we both distinctly remember our friend not only being there, but actually saving the day. We sometimes catch ourselves talking about it and once praised our friend for saving that wedding and he was like, "What? Whose ex? I wasn't even there. In my childhood, kindergarten in USSR, I distinctly remember the sky going dark for some time. Teacher rushing us all inside. Then back bright again, unknown time later. My parents denied there was solar eclipse that day. I couldn't find any record of one either, though should check again. I distinctly remember that. Not sure if this counts. My ex would cry in her sleep from time to time. I'm a night owl. So if I was around her, I'd gently caress her head and say I'm here. Everything is okay. After a while, I'd wake up 10 seconds before she'd start crying to console her. Now, if one of my 4 kids starts to cry in their sleep, I'm already awake to console them. I love it but always thought it was weird. I have dreamed of 2 or 3 situations before they actually happened exactly as in my dreams. It can't be a DJ cute vu because I remember dreaming about it. It wasn't just a feeling of familiarity. Was brushing my teeth with one hand, putting the toothpaste down with my other and turning on the tap with my third hand. I only noticed it a few moments after. I couldn't piece it together but they all happened at the same time. I was going to lunch with 2 co-workers. We were discussing another co-worker. One CW made an assessment of the CW we were discussing and I agreed with him. He looked at me and said he didn't say that. He was thinking it. CW2 agreed he didn't say it. When I was little I had a wooden doll crib that rocked that was maybe about 1.5 feet long. I kept it on the other side of my room from where my bed was. I had one of those dreams where you feel like you're falling and it wakes you up. When I woke up the crib was sitting on top of me on my chest and abdomen. Edit. I feel like this is an important detail. I sat straight up when I woke up from the dream and the crib fell off of me onto the floor and made a really loud noise. Some people are suggesting sleep paralysis but I've never experienced sleep paralysis before or after and if it had been I don't think I would remember the crib falling onto the floor. I dropped a quarter and it just disappeared. I never heard it hit the ground. I spent a good 10 minutes looking for it under furniture and the hem of my pants and all around. It just literally disappeared. I dropped 5 credit debit cards on my bedroom carpet while emptying out a handbag. Picked 4 of them up. No sign of the 5th anywhere, not under the bed. etc. Got it replaced. 7 months later. The fecker is lying in plain sight on my bedroom carpet. Exactly where it should have been the first time. I once was cleaning some screws at work. Put them in a little plastic cup. Poured acetone over them. Turned away to do something else. When I turned back around, the cup was gone and the screws were sitting on the desk. Completely dry. Figured I must have mixed something up. Repeated. And again the same thing happened. I was really confused and thought someone was messing with me. Finally realized that acetone was dissolving the little plastic cup and then evaporating. Close bracket. Edit. Yay. My first gold. Thank you so much. I had a dream that Mr. Rogers died. I woke up not thinking much of it. Went online like I do every morning. And found out that he had in fact died earlier that morning. There was one morning before school when I randomly thought, I haven't heard Hey Ya in a long time. It was a good song though. Just a meaningless whatever while brushing my teeth. I arrive at school and all of my friends have Hey Ya stuck in their heads. They were humming it all day and when I asked them about it they said they thought about it that morning. None of us had heard the song recently enough to all be reminded about it. One time in the middle of the night, I heard somebody scream my name. They just suddenly screamed Charles. At the top of their lungs. Nobody was there. And my parents were asleep. Later that same month, my dad was making coffee. And heard me whisper in his ear Dad he turned. And nobody was there. I have zero recollection of doing this. I have sleep paralysis a lot. Which may explain the first one. But I have no idea how my dad heard me. I don't believe in ghosts. But this does creep me out. I was gonna pack for a sleepover. Went into the bathroom looking for my toothbrush. Mom's and brother's toothbrushes are there but not mine. There is however a small yellow toothbrush. Suitable for a child. I ask my mom if she knows where it is, which she does not, so I go back and check again. Mine is still not there. Small yellow one is still there. I give up and go pack other things, and then my mom goes into the bathroom and asks what I'm talking about. My toothbrush is there. Since I was 100% sure it was not, I rushed to the bathroom to check. My toothbrush is now there, but there's no sign of a small yellow toothbrush. Afterwards I started wondering why I didn't react to the yellow toothbrush. None of the other ones looked anything like it, and it was very out of place. It also couldn't have been my mom switching them because she wasn't in the bathroom long enough. My room was right next to it. I remember dreaming about my dad and I. We had gotten into a car crash with an oncoming semi-truck and I woke up before we had died. It was me driving, but I was driving on the left side. I didn't think anything of it, but it was weird to me cause it felt so real. A year had passed and it's 2016 at the time. Right around Christmas. My dad was in Australia for a business trip. The day he was supposed to come back, he had gotten in a car crash and had passed at the hospital. What was weird was it was the exact same truck from my dream and on the exact same street and area. I just remember the memory flooding back to me when it happened. For those of you who will wonder how I knew it was the same, is because I was shown pictures of the crash which had shown the semi and had shown the street. I once kicked the air. I was walking. My foot hit something as it was at its highest point in the air and I stumbled over it. There was nothing there. Did you maybe step on your shoelace? Going through my grandma's pictures after she died. We found a picture of my husband's mom and my grandma. This couldn't possibly be his mom, but it looked just like her. They also share the same first and last name. No, we aren't related, we've had our DNA analyzed. Back in 6th or 7th grade on the bus ride home, we stopped at this kid's house to drop him off and his dog started running towards him. The dog went full speed behind a tree and a different dog came out on the other side running full speed. Every so often I'll be laying in bed about to go to sleep and I'll remember this. When I was young and living on an Air Force base in Montana, I had a dream my mom and I were at the grocery store and one of our neighbors approached us on her daughter, around my age. The little girl had a heart murmur, but was pretty healthy and had been doing well for years. Dream mom asked where the daughter was, and dream neighbor says she passed away last night. Something happened and her heart just gave out. I was fairly young, around 5. But I asked my mom about it the next morning and she was creeped out because I was too young to really know the girl had any health issues. But she chalked it up to just weird kid intuition. A few days later, the little girl's mom knocked on our door to tell us her daughter had indeed passed away from an unforeseen heart complication. My mom still loves to tell the story. Overwhelming deja vu. And being able to predict small details within the next 30 seconds. This isn't creepy, but it was surreal. I caught a bus and went downtown with every intention of staying there to work on my writing at a cafe. But somehow I got downtown having forgotten my backpack and laptop and books at home. I still spent maybe 4 hours downtown running errands before heading home, regretting not having brought my bag along. So I'm sitting on the rather long bus home and staring at my backpack. And then I straighten up and realize it's my backpack. And inside it is my laptop and my books. And somehow it had survived on the same bus I'd taken earlier. All day. Just sitting there. I recovered all my stolen tea before ever having realized I'd lost it. People probably won't believe this, and my girlfriend thinks I'm making it up, but whenever I look at a clock or watch during the afternoon it's 13:37. When I first noticed it 6 years ago I thought it was because I had the same routine at uni. But now I work full time and my work schedule is always varied, but the time is still 13:37. I could be eating lunch on a Monday, queuing up for a film at the cinema on a weekend, or lounging on a beach on holiday, and it'll be 13:37. I felt my neighbor die when I was a kid. Just had a super weird sensation like a breeze blew through me. I tell my mom Bob died. And like a minute later his wife comes rushing down hysterical to tell us. Years later I started to notice that every time I look at a clock its hour is 8:08. Even in video games that have their own time system. What does 8:08 look like on a digital clock? Bob.